we are.
Hello and welcome to Waking Up. It's your Sunday Trauma Podcast. I am Roogs. I am one of your hosts. And hi, Asta. And this is Sean. He is also one of the co-hosts here on Waking Up. And here's where we poke your trauma. We dig up some of ours, and we just we work through our shit. So here is. Oh, there's an echo?
No.
No.
Massive echo.
Is this? Can you hear? Is there an echo now? I don't know.
Hey, Eric.
Is there an echo now?
There, friends are from across the pond are on.
Is there an echo now?
There, friends are from across the pond are on.
Okay.
Oh, and we have a J. There, friends are from across the pond are on.
Okay.
Oh, and we have a J. There, friends are from across the pond are on. It tells me you're live. And we have a J. There, friends are across. It tells me you're live. And we have.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out the echo thing. Is there still an echo? Echo on both now. Oh, cool.
I don't have any audio.
It's gone. Okay, echo's gone.
Oh, Essa says it's gone. It's fixed. Yay!
Cool. All right. Well, now that we've got all that
but I can't hear you. Uh-oh.
Well, that would be because
there we go.
I muted that.
We good?
I don't know.
There we go.
I muted that.
We good?
Okay.
Audience, are we still good?
Okay, so here, let's start with our disclaimer. Here on Waking Up, we are not here to bash anyone's religious beliefs or their faith. Here, we believe that faith and religion are beautiful things when done in I know, Eric, you know us. We like to start your Sunday off really well, or end it really well for you guys across the pond. But we're not here bashing anybody's faith or beliefs because we think faith and religion are beautiful things when done in a mentally and emotionally healthy manner. We are not licensed professionals. We are just two people trying to work through our shit. We are not counselors, therapists, life coaches. Hell, we're not even mentors on anything. And God knows you don't want me to be a mentor because I'll just tell you the fucking truth and nobody wants that. So we do not take anything that we say on here is just our own personal experience and our own personal opinions. If you do need professional help, we do have information to help you get in touch with true licensed professionals that can get you the help that you need, because no one should have to struggle alone. Sean and I both grew up in the Carolinas as Southern Baptists, which is, for those of you who don't know, Southern Baptist is a strict evangelical conservative denomination of the Protestant faith, and apparently they're psycho. So there's that.
We didn't think it could get worse. We were wrong.
So what are we talking about today, Sean?
Oh, so I'm gonna be upfront and honest with people. This is gonna be a triggering episode for me, and I know this wholeheartedly because I'm already there. Because my mind has been working. So this is a topic that. What
tools have you been using now that you're triggered? Tell our audience.
The tools that I've been using. I've been thinking through, and I've been thinking through what I'm feeling, where I'm feeling it, and thinking about where it's coming from, what going back through I've kind of been going back through my life and just kind of thinking it through.
Okay. How is that soothing you?
I've been focusing on this. The big one for me is focusing on facts, focusing on what I know.
Now, are they facts or are they facts according to Sean?
That's an important distinction.
That is an important distinction because you have a tendency to base your facts on facts according to Sean.
The story, yes, that is the story that I tell myself. Yes, so it is. But I've also been a lot of things have been popping into my head the last 30 minutes or so. So as to like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Made my friends upset, by the way. Might made them upset by making them worry about me.
Oh.
Do you want to talk about it? Because we can talk about it before.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're wanting to share and you wanting some support or, you know, something advice, we'd be happy to help you before we get into the subject. Or if you don't want to, that's perfectly okay. I mean, we are here for whatever you need. I'm just offering that to you because you brought it up in chat. So you might need to talk about it, and that's okay. And we are totally open for that. No topic is more important than helping someone in our community. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, just let us know. I know that there's a delay, so we'll let Sean get started if you want to type that out. So go ahead, Sean.
All right, so today's topic is when safe feels weird, rewiring for trust, because this is
okay. All right, we're gonna stop. I'm gonna go. First off, I don't know you, and as personally, okay. So here's the first question I'm going to ask you, because I know a lot of people are like, you need to eat, you need to take care of yourself. But here's the first question I want to ask you as somebody who cares. Why? Where is the source of the non-hunger? Are you upset about something? Is it you've been too busy? Is there something going on underlying the fact that you don't want to eat? Because I am somebody who is absolutely, and when I get into a dark place, I don't eat. And I understand. I just want to know first before everybody's like, oh, you need to eat, because yes, your brain is telling you, yes, you know you need to eat, but that is not my concern right now. My concern right now is why are you not hungry? And if you don't want to share, that's fine. You can keep it simple as I'm hurting over something, or I'm upset about something, or I'm triggered. That's fine. You don't have to go into detail, but that's where my first concern is. That keeps telling me I'm worthless. That is a very valid feeling. Mm-hmm. And I've been there. Why bother? It's the why bother. It's the why bother voice. Why bother eating? It doesn't matter. If I disappear right now, what's it gonna matter? It's that voice. I know that voice. I know me and that voice we're very well acquainted. It's the fucking gross coworker that shows up every, from corporate, that shows up every, 3 or 4 months or so. Why bother? Because you matter. And I know that sounds that's hard to hear. And bipolar depression, yeah, and that is a very justifiable. Sometimes you just can't fight those voices, and that's okay. And I want to start off, like, I didn't say this before, but I really do appreciate you sharing that with us, because in the reality is that you coming in here and saying that and sharing that with us in our community means that you do want to matter, and that you feel safe here, and that you want to share because you want somebody to care. And we do. We don't know you. If you pass me on the street, I wouldn't know who you are, but I do care. I do care. And I do care about everybody in our community. And why bother? Why matter? Because you matter. And if you don't feel like eating, okay. I just ask that you at least stay hydrated, okay? And at least try to at least eat something small, even if it's a pack of crackers. I don't know what you guys have as snacks over there, or just a piece of bread, something small. And it's going to taste like ash, and you're going to be nauseous, and you're going to want to throw it up. But at the very minimum, all I ask is that you hydrate. You can live without food for several days, but you cannot live without water. This is one of the signs of it. It's just that banana. Okay, and a banana is great. Banana is potassium, and banana is something. But we care, and I'm glad you're here today, and thank you for showing up. And I just ask that even if you're not hungry, just drink, okay? And bipolar depression is scary, and it puts you in dark places. And I can understand. I have some friends who have bipolar disorder, and it goes very, very dark, and it's very scary. And I know that can make you feel very alone, and like the demons and the voices in your head sound very, very loud. So if anything, if anything, clip this and play it over to yourself over and over. Asta, you matter. You matter to me. You matter to us. And whatever you need, you're not going to bother anyone, and you're not upsetting anyone. And real people who care about you, even if you fight them, will still stand. Okay? So I appreciate you sharing, and I am very thankful that you're here. I still drink, otherwise I get lithium poisoning. Well, you know what? We'll take that as a win. Sometimes that's winning. Sometimes, just like I said in my Insta post, and sometimes breathing is all you can do. A breath in and a breath out. And sometimes that's where the strength is. I just need to breathe today. And you don't have to be put together, and you can be a mess, and you can be falling apart, and the demons may be winning today, but all you have to do is just breathe. And that's all I ask of you. Okay? Just one moment at a time. And sometimes those moments are hell. And those moments add up to weeks, and I get it. 100%. Why bother when fading away and disappearing seems like a really good option, but it's not. I am glad you exist. All right. Okay. All right, Sean.
Okay. All right. So, trust. Today's topic. Talking about trust, rewiring for trust. Because I am the person I'm the person that will talk about what it takes. I will say, hey, if I have this, or the person will extend the trust to me. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing, like in a relationship. And yet I still don't do it. I still struggle to trust. Even when I have what I tell myself I need for trust, I still struggle to trust. I didn't realize how bad it was until probably the last year, last several months, how deep it goes for me. So this is an extremely hard, this is a very difficult topic for me. Because it touches everything. It touches so much of what I do and my core belief. That, yeah. So this will be a tough one for me. And yeah, I echo everything that Anna said. We are glad you're here. Yeah, glad you're part of the community. Glad you're here. Glad you showed up. So, yeah. So this is what I was thinking about what to discuss today. I was like, this is one of the hardest things that I deal with, and this is something that's very relevant to me right now. This is something I continue to struggle with. Is trusting myself, trusting other people, trusting in relationships. Just trust, because I don't extend it. I ask for it, but I don't extend it. I really have a difficult time doing that, and that a lot of times trust comes up when in the context of relationships, and we use relationships and friendships kind of interchangeably. Um, so, but it extends to definitely extends to friends, not just in like romantic relationships. Um, so yeah, I was thinking about like where this, because as we said, a lot of things come back to childhood, to our youth, and like I growing up Southern Baptist, um, there was a I think I didn't trust myself. I think that's where a lot of it came from. I didn't trust myself, and I didn't trust the people the caregivers. I didn't trust the parents, because I grew up being told, you know, blind faith, just have faith, just have faith, just trust. It'll, you know, God will take care of it. Just God will take care of it.
I think I had the opposite. I trusted
Yeah.
the wrong people.
Okay.
I trusted the wrong people. I extended trust where it wasn't earned. I extended trust for, I was, like you said, have blind faith. So I had that faith. I trusted people. I always wanted to see the good in people. And that blinded me to like toxic patterns. It blinded me. Like it blinded me to blatant lies that were told to me that I knew were lies. But you know what? I was able to gaslight myself away. So I think for me, even in childhood, it was very much like one time that comes out in my head is when my senior night with my mom. And I know for a fact I told her where to be, when to be there, what time to be there. I told her multiple times. But when she didn't show up and she was embarrassed, oh, thanks, Calvino. You owe me a ring. I mean, I'm a size 6.5, 7, in case you want to know. But I think, and she was like, you didn't tell me, and she was very abusive and all this stuff. And, it was hard, but I trusted. But even in my gut, when I was telling her over the phone earlier that day, I was like, I just wanted to have faith that she was going to show up. And I consistently, that was a pattern for me over the years, is that I put my trust and faith in people, even though they consistently didn't show up for me, and they consistently lied to me and consistently were showing me the opposite of what they were saying. But that became such a pattern that it was just became normal. Like that just became, I learned to adapt around it because I didn't want to be abandoned and I didn't want to be unloved. So, I mean, for me, it wasn't just like, oh, just have blind faith. It's like I did have the blind faith, and I did trust, and I was too trusting. And I was too trusting well up and for a year, like none, like I think to some effect, I'm still a little too trusting, but I want to see and believe in the good in people. That's why I always have you get one. Everybody fucks up. Everybody fucks up, and I'm willing to do that. Everybody fucks up royally, and that's okay. Everybody fucks up. You get one. Where I just like, okay, you fucked up. It happens. You get a do-over. But after that's when boundaries, that's when it becomes a pattern. Like if you fuck up once, that's a mistake. You fuck up again, that starts a pattern. And I had to learn through therapy that I can't do that. So
I wanted to have that trust, and I wanted to have that faith. But like when it came to religion, came to, you know, trusting God and having that faith, like, okay, so I have this trust and I have this faith, but what does it get me? Did anything get better? Did anything come of it? It never did.
But you stayed in the church for 40 years, so something must have come of it.
No.
So why did you stay?
I think it was, I think some of it may have been sunk cost. I think some of it was
sunk cost in religion.
Yeah. Some of it was Pascal's wager, which is, well, you know, what if I leave and I'm wrong? I think it was so bred into me that religion was the thing. Like that, even when I was deconstructing, like it was easy for me to say that religion, Christianity had gone all messed up and like other people and whatever. But if you were to tell me to say that, you know, Jesus to say who, for me to explain like what I believe about Jesus, that was like one of the hardest things. I couldn't let that go. Like I wanted to believe. I wanted to believe that that was still real. It was so ingrained in me that that was still a thing.
You wanted to trust that it was real.
I want to
Because
trust. Yeah, I'm like,
that's what faith is. Faith is
I spent my
trusting.
entire time. I spent my entire life trusting that this was real, and this was kind of like it was like the last bastion of the last holdout. Was like, oh, okay. So even if I don't belong to the church, Jesus is still. I can't let that go. And I finally did. But that was the last holdout. That was really that was probably the hardest part of one of the hardest parts of deconstructing for me was getting to that point and getting past that point.
Well, Calvino and Asta both come from it. I do not trust people that easily. I got burned too much, even struggle to trust my friends because I think it's because I don't trust myself. I am opposite. I'm skeptical of everyone until I see a pattern of following through. And those are what my way of coping with betrayal and is in my way and y'all's way are very two distinct and normal ways of dealing with that broken trust, especially when you come get hurt really, really early. I know for me, childhood, I couldn't trust anything. Nothing I said because I was like, we've been through all that. But those are two very normal coping mechanisms and approaches to the trust. Some people trust no one ever at all, and you have to earn that trust, and some people never earn your trust, and we've all met those people. We've all been those people. And then we have people like me who are like, okay, they're that, a lot of people call them naive. It's the naive, like this person is, but it's two different reactions to the same abuse, and neither one of are wrong. They are just two ways. It's just how our brains develop and how we develop, how we feel. We, as my therapist would say, how we soothe ourselves and make ourselves feel safe. Sometimes some of us justify by going, they're a good person. I can see the good in them. So I'm going to extend that trust. I know they've hurt me. And other people are like, all people are going to hurt me and I'm going to keep myself from being hurt. And it's both coming from the same avenue of I am protecting myself. And for me, it was, I have to believe that there's good in people, because if I don't believe that there are good in people, then these people hurt me for no reason. I have to believe this person is actually good, and that's for me. And I can absolutely see the other side where other people are like that. I am not going to get hurt again, so I'm going to do everything I can to prevent that. Both are still the same. They're just protection.
Yes. In my head, I so want to believe people. I so want to trust people. But did I really believe them? Did I really believe that I could trust them? No, I didn't. And I, like growing up, I saw you had my parents. I didn't trust my parents. I didn't trust my parents to keep me safe. I've talked about this before. Like I didn't feel safe in my own house. So I had a trouble trusting them. I couldn't communicate. I didn't feel like I could communicate my needs. I didn't know how to. And whenever something happened and like got in trouble for doing something, I couldn't respond and communicate with to my parents because that was back talking. So I had to just shut up and take it, whatever happened. So I didn't feel safe to communicate I didn't feel safe to be myself. I didn't feel that I could trust that they would take care of me, that I would be okay if I was who I am. So I learned early on that I could never just be who I am. All of my friends were in the church, and my friend and I saw everyone lived a duality. Everyone lived that Christian that mask. Everyone that I was around was living that mask. The PKs, I was friends with the PKs. And so everyone around me, including myself, I feel like I couldn't trust these people. I couldn't trust people around me. I think I learned early on not to trust. I wanted to trust. but I didn't. I just, because I felt like I needed to. That was the only way to keep myself safe. And then, and that carried forward into into relationships where it just got worse. And I think that the thing that that I tried to do, the coping mechanism, I think, was trying to exert some level of trying to exert some level of control. And here's something that I think that I realized that came to mind is that, and even now, especially now, I want to know things. I think I tell myself that if I know things, then I can trust. But I've come to realize that I think my desire, my need to know things is not about trust. It's about control. Because if I
need to know something, if you need to know something, it's like and because that's just saying, that's like earning love. If you do these things, if I know these things about you, that's like the difference between secrecy and privacy. It's like, I should be able to read all your text messages and your emails and your access to everything, or because that way I can trust you. That's not trust.
That's not trust. Yes.
That's not trust. So knowing everything, having to know everything isn't trust.
Yeah. I think I've disguised wanting truth and wanting honesty. I think that has been my disguise for wanting to be able to control. Some of that, I think, is controlling myself, but also controlling the situation, controlling the other person. The control for myself is, if I just know everything, then I'll be okay.
Yeah, but when you know everything and then use it to write your own narrative, that is not.
I didn't say it worked well.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Sean. Knowing everything isn't trust.
That's correct. Yes.
There's a difference between trust and being open and honest and transparent. And I've actually talked about this with my therapist about the difference between honesty, trust, and transparency. Is because honesty is when somebody asks you a question, you give them the truth. Transparency is, okay, like, so say for example, somebody asked you, what'd you do for lunch? Well, I went out with somebody of the opposite sex. I went out with Joe. But transparency is, hey, before you go, I'm going to lunch with Joe, just thought I should let you know. But that's where, okay, that's healthy. But then it's like, what did you eat? What did you talk about? What did you do? All of these things. It's then breaking it down. That's where the distrust is bred. And that's not trust. Because trust is, I believe that this person is not going to hurt me, which trust is vulnerability. And most people like to disguise that.
You're correct. Yeah.
And it's like, but I need to know everything. I need you to be honest with me. Okay, I can be honest with you and I can be transparent with you, but I don't have to give you my entire freaking itinerary, what we said, bullet points, all this stuff, because that's not trust and that's not honesty.
And it's not being asked in good faith. See, that's my problem. Is I have asked those questions. I have wanted those details, which I think for some people it is in good faith. They just want to know. That is just something they like. They like to know what's going on in each other's lives. And I thought that's where I was coming from, but I've realized it's not where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from I'm not asking those questions in good faith. I'm wanting the details because I need to know. And not only and I take that and I twist it and make it worse, because I take what's said and then I twist it into, I'm looking for the problem. So,
okay, I'm going to call you out on something.
All right.
Why is it that all your healing is about connecting the dots? Because every episode that we've had thus far, you often say you are looking to connect dots. Why is it that you are looking to protect yourself by making everybody else out to hurt you?
Because that's what I'm expecting people to do.
Why can't you have faith in the people that love you?
I think I think that comes down to a core belief about myself that I'm not worthy enough to be loved on for me.
Okay, well that I can understand. That's a very valid like trauma wound.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not worthy, why are you looking, not even just like expecting, looking and creating the pain for yourself?
I think the pain, because the pain is normal. I think the pain feels normal. I think the pain I think the pain is my standard. Like that's where it it confirms that belief. It confirms that, well, oh, so now I know this. But then I sit in it, and I live in that constant,
But
like,
confirms what belief? If other people are out, like if you're searching for that, if you're
yeah.
looking for them, if you're not trusting them to have your best interests at heart, one, why do you have them in your life? That's my number one question. If you don't trust people, why have them in your life? And that's I mean, I'm just as fucking guilty of that, because there's a bunch of people in my life right now, like I said the other night, that I really should just light that bridge on fire and go tell them to go fuck themselves. But, I want to have faith that they're going to do what they say they want to do. But you know what? I've been wrong many times before, and I've had to eat that crow. But why would you keep these people in your life that you desperately want to keep, but you don't trust them? And what you do trust is the narrative that they're going to hurt you. So what belief do you go looking for to soothe? What about that makes you feel safe? Because that's what you're searching for. That's the reality. That's what we all do. What we all do is what we're doing is when we do shit like that, because that's a coping mechanism that we learn. What are we soothing? What are you soothing? Because I know for me, when I put that, I'm soothing that abandonment wound. I want to tell them that, like, okay, it's okay. Like I'm gonna, like, I know you're lying to me. I know you're hurting me, or I'm creating this narrative so that, like, they don't leave me, that I'm forgiving, and I'm telling myself I'm forgiving and I'm kind and I'm really a good person, because that's also my black sheep wound of going, I don't trust you, but I'm going to extend this trust that you don't deserve, because I'm a good person, and I want to prove that I'm a good person, because I've been told and made to believe that I'm not a good person. So I'm extending this trust to you even though you've hurt me.
I think part of me is looking for the confirmation that it's not there, but then I create the narrative that it is there. I often will find myself creating that narrative that is there. And then it breeds this fixation on this whatever I find that could be innocuous, but I won't let it go, and I fixate on it.
But why?
I don't know. That's what
self-reflection is. That's why, what wound are you trying to soothe when you go searching in this distrust? Like, that's the question that we all need to ask ourselves, that we often ask ourselves. When I find myself with the urge to, so much truth in that do not have the best interests, and I get scared of it. And that's Asta, that is my hang up. 100%. My hang up is I, especially when I first moved out, I was afraid of being alone. I was afraid of myself. And that was the core reality of it, is that if I stood up for myself, if I said, no, this is not acceptable. No, I am not that person anymore. No, you're not allowed to treat me this way. No, I'm not going, would I be alone? And that was a very deep fear. and that is something that bred from my trauma and my BPD. And I've worked very, very hard to understand that it's okay, and it still hurts, and acknowledging that two things can exist in the same feeling. Till 2020, I survived the best me, but after Rona, I can't be alone, and that's okay. And that is absolutely okay. And and traumatic events, and Rona was a traumatic event for all of us. We adjust, and our brains adapt. And the reality is it was my fear of being alone. And so cutting people out of my life that were unhealthy, it was also my fear of how would that look. I cut my own mother out of my life. And for years, I was like, I look like a really shitty person. Instead of thinking to myself, I was brave. I did the thing that a lot of people won't do. And you know what? I'm okay with that. It took me years of therapy and a lot of hard work, a lot of tears, and I still carry that to this day. Hurt people. And there's a difference between hoping that they're going to grow and change and adapt, and you guys can mend whatever wounds are there. And then there's just going, I can't take it anymore. And that's okay too. But you have to be okay that even though you lose people, it's still gonna hurt. Even though it's still good for you, it still hurts. And those two things can exist in the same. You cannot like or want to do the thing and still do the thing and know it's the best thing. Ooh la la. Help me, Rhonda. Help
Oh God.
me, Rhonda.
I'm still thinking about like where does the why of that, because if I go hunting and I find nothing, okay, well good, I found nothing. I guess I should be able to trust them, but then it doesn't fix anything. It's just a one time. But if I do find something, if there is, whether it's legitimate or just a story I'm telling myself, like I don't use that as one, okay, hey person, I found this. This is what I'm thinking. This is a story. Like I don't I don't approach that as something to discuss. I just internalize it.
And even if you brought it up to discuss, would you believe them anyway?
No, probably not. No. I also don't use it to just, I typically just don't use it to ghost people either. So it's not like, okay, I found this stuff, but I'm not going to say anything to them about it. I'm just going to ghost them. So I don't do that either. I stay in the situation. I stay and I just sit there with it and I marinate in it. And I hurt myself over and over.
What's the difference between ghosting and protecting your peace?
Well, in this case, ghosting, it would be because again, sometimes it could be just the story I'm telling myself. So it doesn't necessarily even have to do with facts. For me, ghosting would be, I don't want to deal with this. I'm not willing to say something about it. So I'm just going to take the easy way out and walk away. There is no, for me, there's no peace there. Either way, there's no peace because I'm not addressing what's going on.
I think for me, I don't ghost people. I just don't things where I go, you know what? I just don't need, you know what? I need time to process and deconstruct this, how I feel about it, where I stand about it, because the wound, like there are minor punches to the face that you can take, you know, and that you're like, okay, you know, we'll talk about it. We can talk about this and move past it. And then there's like, you fucking stabbed me in the back. I'm going to need some time. That, like, even the doctors tell you, take time and rest. Don't go do all the things. Take time, rest, lay down. Don't do anything strenuous. And I feel like that for me is what I do. And so many people are like, well, you just distance yourself. No, you know what? No, I just don't need to involve you in me processing how I feel and how I think about a situation and where I stand in it. I need space. And just because that space, I put that my space between those people, doesn't mean that I'm not going to come back to it or I'm not dealing with it. I just don't need everybody's opinion on it. I don't need everybody's opinion on a situation because I've gotten to the point where, because I used to not trust myself 100%. And this is something I'm working in therapy. I don't trust myself. I don't trust my feelings. I don't trust how I feel. Because again, I gaslight myself and I gaslight myself in situations. So it's one of those, I would need everybody's opinion. And if I had everybody's opinion and I had everybody's junk in it, then I could come to a consensus. Okay, I would poll everybody. Here, let me tell you about this situation and validate how I'm feeling. If you're going to validate how I'm feeling, or maybe I don't see a point of view, but now it's one of those, you know what? Nope. Because if I'm going to have to learn how to trust myself, I'm going to have to learn how to listen to myself. And that means putting myself in a little bit of a bubble and processing that and figure out where I stand and where my boundaries are and what I'm going to do to move forward. And that's like, and that's a huge shift from me, because I would want to talk about it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I would want to argue my point, and then I would waffle back and forth because I didn't trust myself.
Sure.
I trusted everybody else but me. And I'm having to gain that trust from myself and what my truth is.
I don't trust myself to handle things in a healthy way. I don't trust that when I find something, when I'm dealing with something, I don't trust myself to respond in a healthy way. And that includes like protecting my peace. That includes walking away. Then I would just sit in it. And that has become, I think that has become the norm. That has become that constant anxiety and fear, I think, has just become so normal for me that when I get it, it feels like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. And I think that's why I've sought out the relationships that I have over the years.
Why?
Because that's what I get from it. That's like, especially like the being involved with people over the years that have not been available in some way. It's a way I end up validating the belief how I see myself. And it just keeps going. The one relationship, my marriage, where I went into that, where I didn't think that was the case, ended up being the one relationship where I really tried really hard to trust, and that trust was completely shattered. The one normal relationship is where a lot of I think what I'm dealing with right now, I think that's where a lot of that was reinforced. Because I really did try to trust. And it did not go well.
So what now?
Now,
Because you've been divorced 5 years. What have you
Yeah.
done? Like, how has that affected how you trust other people? Like, I feel because you're the type of person that if you try thing one time and it doesn't work out, then it just doesn't work.
That's
you don't
correct.
like to proofread. You don't like to go back and watch any of the episodes back. Like so. What now?
What now is
And how has that affected how you treat other people?
I have difficulty trusting my friends just as much as trusting a significant other. A lot of times, like trusting that what the person says or what the person conveys, what they say is that they're telling the truth. That if someone says, "Yeah, hey, I'm here for you," are they really? Are they really here for me? Like, do they really care about me? Do they really want me? Um, because there's the voice that says no. What I've been working, what I've been doing, trying to do a lot lately is is extending the trust and the facts and going, this is what they said. I got no reason to believe anything differently. There's nothing that has been said that has been done. This is what they say. And that voice keeps coming back. And so as you and I have talked about before, it's repeatedly, yeah, that voice is going to come back and it's saying the same. Okay, I'm going to have to tell it. I can't just tell it once and it's going to go away. I've got to tell it every time that voice comes back. I've got to remind it. I've got to continue. I've got to repeat what I've said. I'm going to trust them. I know the voice is coming up because it's scared because it's trying to protect me from being hurt. If I push them away, then then they can't hurt me if I push them away. If I don't believe them, I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to trust them and to have them break it. So it's repeatedly. Oh, that voice comes back a lot. So it's choosing to trust the person and trusting them over the voice in my head that's telling me otherwise. And sometimes I have to distract myself. Sometimes like that when that voice just keeps coming back really fast. Sometimes I'm like, I just got to do something, and eventually distract myself, and that voice tends to go away. For a time.
So I'm going to go back to something you said earlier. You're talking about, choosing to trust. Why should people trust you when you don't trust other people? Why is that like, because the whole, like the episode is like safe feels weird, rewiring for trust. How, like if you don't trust other people, if you're coming out and saying, I don't trust other people, I connect the dots and how is that something where you can be a safe space? If you're always like, that's the thing about is like, I had to learn how to sit in that. I had to learn how to sit in the whole, not everybody's going to trust me. And I'm not going to be a safe space for everyone. And that sucks because I'm a people pleaser and I am a person that wants to feel safe and I am the person. But I also had to go, like my therapist had to point out to me, I can't save everyone. I can't be a safe space for everyone and still be a safe space for myself. I have to allow myself my space of safety first, because if I don't extend that trust to myself, if I don't trust myself, then I am not safe for myself. And if I am not safe for myself, I'm not safe for other people. And that was huge when trying to figure out how to be a safe space for my kids, because that was hugely important for me, is to deal with that wound first, because I didn't feel safe with my mom. I didn't feel safe in my house. I didn't feel safe in my family. And I didn't want to raise my kids feeling that way. But she's like, if you want to break that cycle and you want to be a safe space for your kids, you're going to have to face some uncomfortable truths. You're going to have to trust yourself, and you're going to have to trust your kids. And you have to take on the weight load of that. And I was like, she goes, because if you make a safe space for your kids, but you're not a safe space for yourself, you're depleting yourself before you even charge your own battery. And that's not safety. That's rescuing. And I was like, bitch, I don't need you to be fucking good at your job. So, I mean, it's one of those, I have to trust that my kid, I can't, like, you can't tell your kids, oh, no, you don't feel that way, or you're not safe for me. And I have to sit in the discomfort when sometimes they tell me things that I don't want to hear about myself as a mom. Mm-hmm. And that sucks. That sucks. But I also have to trust that just because I make these mistakes, that doesn't mean that they don't love me. So, I mean, what about, like, where do you stand on all of
that? I have prided myself on being a safe space for people, and that's shattered. That has been shattered, and it's very uncomfortable.
Were you a safe space, or were you just a white knight?
I think I was a safe space. Well,
can you be a safe space and not trust anybody? And that's the thing, is like, were you a safe space, or were you a white knight?
I wouldn't say in the past I've very much been a white knight.
Being a safe space means being able to sit and somebody being able to tell you their truth, even when it hurts, and not expecting them to do anything but you sitting there and listening and accepting and acknowledging. That's being a safe space, and it fucking sucks. Because let me tell you, for those of you people who think that out there being a safe space for people is like, oh, you know, all you have to do is be kind and loving. No, it's sitting in the ugly. It is sitting in the ugly when somebody's telling you, you hurt me. Mm-hmm. I don't like having my friends sit there when I have conversations with them telling me, well, you did X, Y, and Z, and that hurt me, and this is why. And I'm like, okay, well, I was not aware. Just because I wasn't aware doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
How can you love somebody if you don't love yourself? Easy. It's easy to love somebody else and not love yourself.
Yeah.
Now, are we saying it's healthy? No, I am not saying that it's healthy. It is not. I have loved a lot of people and not loved myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is one of the pop. I think that's one of the pop psychology sayings that actually doesn't hold up in therapy. Because yes, you're right. It is easy to love other people before you love yourself. I think the White Knight I think the White Knight is a part of that in some form. Yeah. I would be lying if I said it wasn't.
I am not a safe space. I am too much of a wrecking ball destroying my own life. And you know what? That's okay. And I'm going to tell you that, Asta, like you say, oh, well, I can't be. That's okay. And I am letting you know that's 100% the emotional vulnerability and honesty that more people need to have. Going, I appreciate you wanting me to tell me this, but I do not have the emotional capacity to be anything but listening. Mm-hmm. And that's it. If you're expecting me to support you or something, or maybe something they're talking about triggers you and you can't listen to it. And I wish I had more strength to say that, because there's a lot of time where people sit and they'll want me to talk about it, and there's just times where I'm sitting so triggered that I stop listening. And when I'm sitting in that trigger and not listening, that's not me being a safe space or being very supportive. That's me then focusing inward, and that's okay to say, going, hey, your feelings are valid, and I am feeling triggered because I feel that but if you're needing something from me, I am not that person right now. And that's okay. You do not have to be a safe space to everyone. You don't have to be everything to everyone. That doesn't make you a bad person. That's saying, I need to get my life together, so please don't ask me to help me get your life together. And that's okay. That is okay. That's not selfish. That is self-care. That is a self-care statement. And I know it sounds like you're trying to bash yourself, but it's not. It is very much a self-care statement.
I think the shattering is that I saw myself as a safe space, even though I actually wasn't. Realizing that I wasn't being. I listen. I could listen, but I don't think I was actually being a safe space. There were many times where I wasn't a safe space. And I see myself as being that, and realizing that no, I actually wasn't. Yeah, realizing that I'm not something that I thought I was.
I just realized my light was in.
Oh, oh, she wants lap time.
No, you can go sit in your bed. No, you can sit in your bed. That's why it's on your desk. That's why it's on the desk. Nope.
But, Mom.
My neurotypical friends come often to talk to me what bothers them. I really want to help them, but I'm more often lately on the edge of trigger. I struggle to say no.
That is really hard.
It is very difficult. It's very difficult, especially when you are struggling in yourself. I know for me, I mean, for me, it's so easy for me to go, okay, I am going through X, Y, and Z, and it is wrecking me, and I am barely breathing, and I'm barely getting out of bed, and my white knight will go, and my need to please and be there for other people because that feeds my value to that person, and is easy for me to go, okay, I'm going to take all of this shit that I'm going through and I'm going to put it over here, and I'm just going to soothe me feeling better about myself if I help somebody else. It's very much an emotional mental equivalent of, I'm feeling really messed up in my brain right now and everything's feeling chaotic, so I'm going to clean my house. If I clean my house, there is a physical result of structure and normal, how I can put things in order, which means I mentally can put things in order. So that's me externally trying to, it's almost like a test run. If I can put somebody else's shit in order, then I know I can put mine in order, when it should be the opposite.
For me, it's similar to that, but as long as I am putting everyone else together, as long as I'm fixing everyone else, I don't have to become introspective, and I don't have to try to fix myself because I'm too busy fixing everyone else. That's
it's avoiding the discomfort.
Yeah, that's what Eric's saying, I'm recovering white knight with my fair of relapses. I am right there with you. It is a constant, like, it is a very common struggle it is a very common struggle for me, especially when I know that there are people that need help. Like, there is that desire, especially when I'm struggling and I'm dealing with something that's uncomfortable, for me to go, you know what, I'm just gonna, they need my help. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go help them. It happens all the time. It's very constant, or common, I should say.
So why don't you trust people with your vulnerability? So the thing is I asked this question because you've often said how you white knight for other people and you don't trust other people, and so, but you sit in this discomfort and you use it to avoid people, but it's also feeding the I'm not worthy and I'm unlovable tract, but you don't allow people to love you by being vulnerable.
So why am I not more vulnerable with people?
Yeah.
Um, because if I am more vulnerable with them, they're going to leave me. They're not going to like what they see and they leave. I think that's yeah. Because I see myself as like I I tend to see myself as like broken or messed up. That's something that's something I'm working through is seeing changing that belief. But if they were to see the stuff, the brokenness, um, yeah, letting people close is really hard. It is. And because I think it's abandonment, because I have abandonment wounds, and I think
So
if
why would you be okay with somebody sharing their brokenness and vulnerability with you?
because it's a double standard, it doesn't go the same. It doesn't work the same. Because in my head, because it's easier for me to look at someone else and someone else being vulnerable and going and saying, "This is good." You're like, "Yeah, that's fine. We'll work through this. You're not broken. You're not whatever." But when it comes to me, yeah, it doesn't. I don't. It doesn't. It's not the same.
So
And
is that a healthy
oh,
relationship?
no, not at all. My therapist has talked about that. Yeah, I mean, my therapist has even said, "Well, why don't you? Why does that work? What does that not work in reverse?" When someone else comes to you, when someone else is vulnerable with you, how do you respond? And okay, so why doesn't it? Because I don't think that's how I see myself. I don't see other people the same that I see myself. Like when people are vulnerable with me, I don't look at them and go, "Oh man, dude, you're broken. You're terrible. You're like."
So wait, let me see if I got this straight in plain English,
Oh
in
god.
plain language. Let me
Uh-huh.
see if I got this straight. Okay.
Uh-huh.
From all that we've had in the past hour, so you don't trust people. You don't trust sharing yourself with them because you feel unlovable. That
Mhm.
you don't think that people will love you because you're broken and you have abandonment issues and you have all these
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
They have to earn your trust, but you don't allow them to earn your trust by being vulnerable. So they're always losing.
Yes,
Is
that
that
is
what I'm
something.
hearing?
Yes, that is what I'm working on.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So
That is the struggle that I have is yeah.
so no matter what, because you don't trust people, you'll never heal the wound that you're unlovable because you can't trust somebody, but then you can't open up and allow them the opportunity to love you.
I mean, it's
That's what.
yes, that's what I'm struggling with. Mhm.
So no one is a safe space for you.
Um
Because being a safe space means being is vulnerability. It's opening
I would
yourself up and showing somebody the ugly because you feel safe there. All of the ugly, not parts of the ugly, all of the ugly.
there are people that I've confided in that I've been vulnerable with.
Completely vulnerable. Like 100%, you've been 100% honest with them.
Yes. But I still have that part of me that says, that questions, can I trust them? So that I that I so extending that trust for me is kind of a constant. It, it's a repeated battle that I'm fighting with myself because that part of me that goes, you can't trust them.
So what do you
Yes, I
do when
can.
that voice happens?
So I say, I understand what you're trying to do, understand why you feel that way, but that doesn't apply here. That's not what we're going to do here. We're going to trust, but it happens a lot where that voice goes, "Oh, you sure you can trust them?"
And are you playing games today? No, I'm not.
No.
It comes to this because I've worked too hard on this. I've worked way too hard on this in therapy in the past 5 years. I have worked way too hard on vulnerability, safe spaces, and trust for me to play games with this, because this is not something that we need. Like, this is not something that gets coached around, because I've had to work very hard for myself on what emotional honesty and trust looks like, and what it looks like for me. And I've worked very, very hard, and I am very passionate about this subject. Like, I'm like, no, because that's just, first off, that's who I am. Especially when I'm passionate about something, I'm not gonna let shit fly. Like, no, like
yeah. So that's what I mean by it's a struggle, is like extending trust to people. It's not like, okay, yeah, I trust you and then it's done. It's that, or I don't trust you and it's done. It's that I want to trust and I'm trying to trust. I'm being vulnerable and hoping that something that isn't betrayed.
So where does you doing the whole connecting the dots come in that?
That's one thing that I'm trying not to do. I'm trying not to connect.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, is like you're trying not to do that. But like you're saying that in the past you were vulnerable with somebody, that voice came in your head.
Yes.
Did you trust them, or did you go and try and soothe and connect the dots?
Oh no, and I would often try to connect the dots. Okay, so because again, it's an ongoing thing. Is I would know, okay, I'm going to trust them. And then at some point, instead of going, no, we're not doing that, and I'm going to trust them, I go the other direction.
So you hurt yourself before they can hurt you, so that you can justify feeling the hurt.
Yes, that sounds about right.
So that's not trusting somebody or making somebody a safe space. That's sitting there going into a safe space and setting a bomb off.
But like,
that's going into a safe space and setting a bomb off and going, oh, this is a wonderful place. Light that shit on fire.
So I'm trusting the person, and then for what something happens and I get triggered. And instead of handling that in a healthy way, instead of regulating myself and using my skills, I feed it. I continue down that dysregulation, and the longer it goes, the worse it gets. And that's when all of the nervous system stuff. That's when all that connecting. The connecting the dots happens. When I get triggered and I start going down that, and I start spiraling. All those things come up. All the past hurts come up. All the distrust comes up. And I start connecting the dots, and things go sideways. Yes. And
what comfort is that for you? What I have an idea, but I want to hear what you have to say.
What comfort does all that bring me?
Mm-hmm. And you said at the very beginning of the episode, so I know I'm almost 90% sure I'm right.
It's I can't trust them. I figured it out. I can't, I think there's almost a satisfaction that comes from like being a detective. I figured this thing out. And so I know there's not really a satisfaction. There's just pain.
No, I can tell you.
Okay,
tell me.
Control.
It brings you satisfaction because you can control the narrative in your head. Because they are going to hurt me. I'm feeling this fear. So if I can get ahead of it, I can control the situation.
I can anticipate it. I know what's going to happen. I know And
And that gives you a reason not to trust them.
and I think that's why I think when you asked me earlier, why do you stay? If these things happen, if you don't trust them, why do you stay? I think it's because when I connect the dots and I'm able to exert that certain level of control, at least in my head, because at that point I know I can anticipate. At this point, I know what's gonna happen. I know what to expect. I know the stories that I'm telling myself,
But is that
and
a
and
fact?
so no, it's the story I'm telling myself.
And is
It's
it
it's
the
it's a it's an illusion of control in my head.
gotcha?
Yeah, it's the illusion that I create, and that illusion that I know
Is there a part
become
of you that doesn't let go and doesn't let these people out of your life because you know somewhere deep down that maybe the narrative you're telling yourself isn't true?
yeah, yeah. I There's still a part of me that wants to be able to that wants to believe them. Like
So
that
why
wants
don't
to
you?
just
If you want to believe them, why don't you?
I think it I think it's because the times where I've tried, the times where I did, just so happened to also be times where I got hurt. There are a couple situations, a couple times in my life where I felt like I really did trust, and it got me, and it didn't go well. They ended up doing the thing that I was afraid, that like all these things that I'm afraid that someone's going to do, these people that I can trust but I don't, the things that those things actually did happen in previous situations. And so I take that. So I don't want to. I don't. So I'm attempting to protect myself from that by assuming that everybody else is just going to do the same thing.
So you're
Yes.
having people pay for other people's sins. And is that okay?
No, no, it's not. That's why I'm trying to. That's what I'm working on. That's why I'm trying to. I'm no, it's not okay. I no, I don't want to do that anymore, because it's completely it's tainted every relationship, every friendship, healthy friendships, relationships. Again, using them synonymously. Um, so no, I don't want I don't want to continue doing that. It's I th- I thought working through it was just was dealing with it and moving on, and I've come to I've after being told multiple times, I think I'm finally accepting that it's not a one and done. It is it's a repeated action. Um,
Same, Asta. And here's the thing, I had to learn about trust. And I got hurt pretty badly in, in the early part of my marriage. I got hurt. It was early, very deeply. My trust was completely shattered, and I felt that to the core. Like if you wanted to feel like every fiber of your being was lying in shattered, jagged pieces on the floor, that was it.
mm-hmm.
And I had a choice, and I made that choice, and I had to learn how to trust again. But I had to let go of the idea. And I think I still struggle with this a little. I know I struggle with this still, of letting go of the idea of rebuilding the same trust that I had in that person, because it will never be the same trust. The relationship will never be the same. What I can build from is I can choose to trust this person and acknowledge the pain that was felt and still trust them. But it will never be that. It's just like when you crumple up a piece of paper and you smooth it out later. Yes, you can still write on it. Yes, it's still functional. Yes, it's all of those things. But the marks are still there. It's still a piece of paper. It's still trust. It's just not the same. And that's okay. That is okay. But I had to let go of the idea that I was going to have a fresh piece of paper ever again. And that's hard. And it's hard, like, because I think I built so much of that around, like, for years before, and then not until I started getting an intensive therapy and understanding that. I had to let go of the idea and the hope that it would all be the same, because it will never be the same. I am never the same. I will not be the same. They will never be the same. But that doesn't mean that you can't rebuild it. And it can't be just as strong, and it can't be just as good. It will just not be the same. And I think holding on to that idea, but there comes a time where one day you'll wake up and you don't even think about it. You don't even think, okay, XYZ, all right, yeah, that's fine. And you don't think about it. And then you realize, oh, I got there. But it takes time, it takes work, and it takes processing through the pain.
Yeah.
I get told I think too much in black and white.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
I also had to let go of the idea of what trust and vulnerability and being somebody's safe space looked like. I spent a lot of time curating in my head, this is what it looks like. And if you do X, Y, and Z, and very black and white thinking in that, okay, here is exactly what it looks like. And you should do this. And you're not doing this, so you really don't. When I don't have the right.
Yeah.
Calvino thinks in Black Jesus. Hold on. I got you, Art Jesus. I rolled an 11, so it ain't that bad.
Oh. I think one of the things I came to. Oh wait, hold on. All right, one of the things that I realized, the trust, extending trust, is that it's connected to expectations, my expectations. In that I set up these expectations in my head of what someone should do. And then when they don't meet that expectation, I perceive that as trust, that they broke that trust, that I can't trust them to be or to do the thing that I had developed in my head that it should be. And I think I was thinking, like, where did this start?
I am very proud of you, Asta. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Asta.
You know what?
That's a victory.
It takes you as long as it takes you, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
Every step is progress. Every step is victory. Oh, Kelly, no, I don't think you were here for earlier conversation, were you? So I think the expectation trust for me started when I was drinking Kool-Aid hard in my youth, because I had an expectation of what Christians look like and what Christians should do and not do. And when someone didn't meet that expectation, I was like, well, I can't trust them anymore because they're not doing the thing that I expected them to do. That's all in my head. And so I've created this reason that I can't trust them.
Why?
Why do I do that? Or why?
Why do you create a reason not to trust somebody if you want to trust people and you want to be, if you want a safe space and you want people to love you? Why would you create the opposite?
Mm.
And why would that be okay?
So it's not okay.
Yeah, but if
why did I do that?
Yeah, like you want people to love you in your core. From what you
Yeah.
said over the
Yeah.
years, you want people to love you for the good, the bad, and the ugly. But you create these expectations and reasons to not trust people and for people not to love you. And then it sounds like you get angry at them when they don't meet those expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that has definitely plagued me. That's for yeah. But why do I? But why do I do it?
That's not for us to answer.
I know. No, that's just me asking the question out loud to myself.
Why would you rather hurt? And it's comfortable is not an answer because it's not comfortable.
Are they unreasonable? No, it's regardless of whether they're reasonable or not, they're not communicated expectations. It's based on perception or my idea of
he
what
sets people up for disappointment.
Yeah, pretty much.
He sets people up for failure in his head. That's why when I said the whole, is it the facts or is it the facts according to Sean? Yeah. Because he does that all the time to me. It's the facts according to Sean and not the facts that are the facts. Like if like you really look like, okay, because DBT is just the facts. GBT is a skill, and it's one that I fucking had to learn for somebody who has BPD, and it's all emotion and intrusive thoughts, and all that's because your emotions and your thoughts are your reality. Mm-hmm. And so having to go, okay, and physically having to like, oh my God, my group therapy, it was intense. But having to write down, you are only allowed to write down facts that you can prove without a reasonable of a doubt that could only fly in a court of law. Not how you feel about it, not what your conjecture, not what you create. It has to be, what are the actual facts? And when you're faced with the actual facts versus the facts because the facts according to Anna were fucking doozies. Let me tell you.
Mine too.
I had people, I don't know, I had people doing superhuman shit. I don't know, like super spy shit. It was insane. And they were very like, but when you write that down and you're actually looking at it in black and white and just the facts, all of a sudden, like, first off, then you have to fight the whole, well, now I'm crazy. You're not crazy. You're just trying to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard. It is. And
it's hard at first to even distinguish the two, because to distinguish what is the fact and versus the fact of this, and this means that. Well, no, that's the meaning that I'm attributing to it. They use this word or this phrase, and I'm like, well, that's
you're the king of
I am the king, yes.
Focusing on one goddamn word in a sentence, one word in a sentence, and then creating an entire paragraph around it. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. But I'm not the guy who goes, okay, so hold on, in the middle of that conversation going, okay, my brain just went somewhere and this is what I'm thinking. Can we clarify what this means so that, so I understand? No, I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that stops listening, begins internalizing, and
Go on, finish the sentence. Nope, finish the sentence.
And won't let it go.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it. Excuse me a moment. Yeah, that's me. So the facts has been something that I have been pushing myself to do a lot, focusing on that and and focusing on what is the fact versus what is.
All right, Asta. Your brain always say I'm too insane for people to care for. Let me
Challenge that.
as my therapist would say, let me challenge that thought. And let's just stick with just the facts because they are in black and white in our chat. If you were too insane for people to care for, would your friends want you to eat?
Anna will get you with this logic stuff.
It's not logic, it's the fact.
Well, that's what I mean. She will, yeah. Like Joe when it comes to
And if you are too insane for people to care for, would we want you to eat? And would we provide a space for you? Yeah, just because you know something in your head, just because you know it in your head does not mean you absolutely believe that, which is why just the facts is very important. And just pointing out, okay, what is my brain gremlins telling me versus what is the reality? Because the brain gremlins are like this nice little computer techie audiovisual guys who will put this screen up in your head, and that's all you're seeing is what they want you to see. And sometimes that's hard. Actually, no, not sometimes. It's absolutely hard.
It is very hard.
But if they didn't care, they don't get upset for not eating. We all care about you.
We do.
And they're allowed to get frustrated and angry. I get frustrated and angry too because they do care. It comes from a place of frustration, and it's more on their part. And I'm not like, I'm not coming to their defense, but I'm trying for you to see sort of a different point of view. When they get angry when you don't, or they're trying, it's a more of angry because they do care and they don't know what to do next. And that comes from a place of helplessness. I know that I get very angry when I feel helpless and I don't know how to help someone. Because they can hold you down and force you to eat. That's not necessarily the kindest way to do it. But you know what? I would be that person. I would sit on somebody and hold them down and shove a cracker in their mouth. Like that would be me. But I mean, that would be my last resort.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know, but my brain is stubborn and mad.
Because
that's very valid.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a mental illness. It sucks. It sucks. And that's very valid. And it's loud. And you can't ignore it. And me trying to explain, with C. Rugs, trying to explain what it's like in my head when I'm going through an episode or I'm going through depression for somebody who has never been through depression or an anxiety episode or any of that. Trying to explain that to somebody, it's very hard. It's very difficult. And I think the one time I said, you don't understand what kind of hell it is that you can't escape. You can't escape that hell. That's why people drink. That's why people do drugs, because they're trying to escape the shit that's going on in their head because they can't. Because it's the one place you can't. So I sleep it off. I literally my body goes, nope, and I go to sleep.
Yep. Mine does too.
Oh, that's funny.
That's where he took it.
Brian. Yes, and everyone does experience their mental illness in their own way. Because it's their own traumas. It's their own chemical makeup. And it sucks. I'm not trying to make light of it because it really does suck. And I think the worst for me is, BPD episodes but they're not the same as bipolar. And it's hard. It's hard from somebody from the outside when they're in that place when you so desperately want to reach there and they don't trust you or they're
because like when I'm hurt or when something when like you said, when like, well, they don't trust me, and I don't like that they don't trust me, or I don't like that I'm no longer this, or like I find accessing that anger comes pretty easily, because it's not really, I'm not really angry. That's where I'm going to with it but really it's because I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling hurt, or I'm feeling this, but it's because this is what it is different than where we're at. And I'm looking, and I find myself looking for blame. I can feel it. I'm more cognizant of that now, that I'm angry because I'm looking for someone to blame, because if I can blame them, then I don't have to take responsibility. I'm like, no, it's not. I understand why I'm feeling angry, but this is being able to recognize when I'm starting to do that allows me to go, okay, we're not going to do that.
So what do you do to mend the hurt?
To mend? Because for the most part, I try to avoid, and I'm not used to sitting in hurt. I'm not used to sitting. That's something I've avoided. Sitting in the uncomfortable, sitting in the hurt.
But you just said that you are like the pain is normal.
Well, no, it's okay.
You say you do all these things because the pain is normal for you. It's a defense mechanism.
Oh, well, I'm thinking of it. I'm thinking of it different. You're talking about how do I sit with whenever I've created the story, this narrative?
When you've done the hurt.
When I've done the hurt.
How have you taken accountability and worked to become that and extend that trust?
It's first accepting responsibility that this is why this is where I'm at. This is if it's something that I've done to cause that, like, it's accepting that my actions, my words got me here. So there's not, it's taking responsibility and not blaming and not creating a villain to make myself feel better. But then like, where do I go next is difficult for me, because I'm caught between giving enough time. Like, part of me wants to just, let's move through this. Like, I need you to be okay, so I'm okay. That codependence. Like, there's a part of me that wants to push that and wants to go, I need you to be okay. I need you. Let's get through whatever, this hurt. Let's get through this so I can be okay. So there's a part of me that wants to do that, but I'm like, no, it's not my timing. It's their timing. But then I'm like, okay, so then, like, what do I do? Like, I want to communicate. I want to say something, but I really, I don't know. And I'm also, a part of me is also fearful that I would make it worse.
A lot of this is about you. Have you even asked them what they need?
That's what I want to do, but I don't, like, I kind of get stuck. It's as simple as asking, hey, what do you need?
Well, right? There's like, in that whole like taking responsibility and accountability and breaking that trust, because God knows I am the queen of taking accountability and breaking trust. Yay for my trauma and being a little selfish bitch. That's fine. And shit, I've got to work through, because here's the thing is all I could see was all the hurt that I did. And that's why I called it my dark 20s. And all I could see was the hurt and the trail of destruction that I left in my wake. And it's very much me having to go back, like, I spent an entire 6 months on this, on really breaking down the shame that I took on and understanding that what I did, yes, was based out of trauma, but it didn't negate the pain that I had inflicted on somebody else. And maybe what I want, maybe I want it like you said, because I just wanted everything to be hunky gory. Like I'm a recovering codependent too. I want it. If you're okay, I'm okay, and we're fine, and everything's fine, and I feel better
just move
about
on.
it.
Yeah.
Let's just get over it. But the reality is that's not how it will ever work, and the relationship will never be the same. But you can I know that there was an ex of mine who I actually hadn't spoken to for over 12 years. Like, I did this dude dirty, and I don't mean in a fun way. I mean, I did this dude like stupid. Like, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so like, I don't even know who that person, like, I've healed enough that I'm like, I don't even know who that person is anymore. I wouldn't dare do that again. But I saw him this past summer, and I was able to have a conversation with him, and then we were texting about it, and we were still like, and I went, I know what I did was wrong, and I know what I did hurt you, and I can't go back and change that. I am incredibly sorry. And I think there's something healing in the words, it wasn't you, it was me. And it was layered in trauma. I think I said it was layered in trauma, but that doesn't excuse my behavior. And I am sorry for that. And I want you to know that. And I can't, you could be angry at me, you can never talk to me again. But and he was, you want to talk about sitting in discomfort? I still have the fucking text message. I'm like, just a list of all of the situations and ways that I hurt him and how I hurt him. And I was just like, but I went, you're right. And I did hurt you. And though I am not that person now, I know I was that person then. And I can't unring the bell. But I am sorry. And I need you to know that. And what do you need from me to heal from the wounds that I have inflicted? And he was like, and he told me, just by you acknowledging those things, I mean, and it's, every situation is different, but this was mine. He says, just by you acknowledging what you've done and taking responsibility for that has helped. And he's like, and you know what? I think we're okay now. I mean, we'll never be besties, and I'm like calling him, like, we've moved on with our lives. But I mean, in that, it's like, with just saying, what do you need? And sometimes just the acknowledgement and the accountability and just going, okay, I'm a different person. I'm not going to force myself on that person. Like, and I realize that there are a lot of people in my past that I'm like, you know what? They have moved on with their lives. If they want to contact me, that's fine. But I know I've left a fucking pool of blood in my wake, in my, due to my trauma. But sometimes it was for him, it was just as simple as going, you're right, and validating what I did without defensiveness and without going, well, the reason I did this was because I was traumatized by that and I was afraid of being loved, and I didn't respond with any of that. And my urge was to do that. My urge was to respond with all of the reasons why I did it, because I was in therapy and I know all the reasons why I did that, and why, there's excuses and reasons why I did it. It doesn't matter to the other person why you did it. It doesn't. I mean, it just matters that you acknowledge that you did it and that you are remorseful about it and that you're going to that you show up differently. And I mean, me and that dude are good now. Like we're good now. I saw him later and he was just like, hey, what's up? Gave me a hug. Hey, cool. How's your wife? How's the kids? Good. How are you and the kids? Good. We're good. Sometimes repair doesn't necessarily mean like moving past it. It's just sitting in it and not making the excuse. I think sometimes for me, it was for the longest time in my healing process, I wanted to blame my trauma. I wanted to blame, well, I was this way because I had attachment issues and I had BPD and I wasn't thinking straight and I had trauma because of my mom and I was abused and I was assaulted and I had this and I had that and I had this. Those are just excuses. And that was hard. That was hard for me because it's just like, sometimes it's gross. It's gross. And you don't want to see yourself in that way because you're not that person anymore. You've done healing, you've done the work, but sometimes there are people in your life that will still see you as the person you were 15 years ago. And it's just like, you can't force them to see you any other way. All you can do is go, I'm not that person anymore, but I'm sorry that I hurt you. And that's it. And you leave it there. And it's like, what do you need from me? And there's another guy who's like, I don't want you to talk to me anymore. Like, I'm selling you this. I'm saying this so that you can avoid me because I can't talk to you. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, hey, that was 20 years ago, but you know what? If that's what you need, I won't talk to you and I will act like you don't exist if I see you. And that's what he needed. And that's what I did because I respected that. And it sucks because, you know, the person in me is like, I'm going to make nice.
Because you want to fix it.
I'm good. Everything's good. I'm a better person now. Well, I'm not to them. And that sucks. But it's not my job to force them to change or grow or heal. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you will never get that from somebody else. My mother. You'll never get that from I'll never get that apology or accountability from my mom. And even if I do, it'll be performative unless I see true change. And I have yet to see true change in like 7 years. So, I mean, and the woman's been on her deathbed, I don't know how many times. So,
yeah.
Like, I don't want performance. Don't feed me words.
Yeah. So it's I think I get stuck with what to say. I get stuck with how to say it. I sit in the hurt, and sometimes I think I sit in the hurt because it's what because it's what I deserve.
Who says?
Well, no, it's what I feel. I
Why?
Because because that's how I convince myself that I am remorseful. It's like, you know, flogging myself. It's the emotional cutting. That's what I
Do you believe that?
I think it's a belief that I'm trying to change.
Whose voice do you hear when you say that? When you hear you deserve that? My therapist would be so proud of me right now because I am absolutely channeling her right now.
That is a question my therapist has asked. My previous therapist has asked a lot. Whose voice? Give it a voice. Whose voice is it? I don't know. I know where I feel like I know where it comes from, but I don't know what voice I would.
Well, if you know where it comes from, you know who the voice it is.
My first thought is it sounds like I want to say it sounds like my dad. Yeah, yeah.
Why?
Because if I'm truly repentant, if I'm truly if I truly want forgiveness, you gotta ask for it. You gotta be fervent enough about it. You gotta be it's gotta be it's gotta look a certain way.
That your
Otherwise,
dad or the church?
I would say it's the church through my dad.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's there had to be a quality about it. It had to meet this certain criteria that was never enough. It was never enough. It was yeah, it was never enough. So I think that's why I often, when there's conflict, I ruminate on that conflict, even beyond the point where the other person has moved on. I continue to ruminate because if I don't, was I truly remorseful? Did I truly have I repented enough for it? I then began hurting myself from it, even though the other person may have moved on from it. So, I sit in the hurt because I'm supposed to sit in the hurt. Because if I don't, then am I really remorseful? Am I really?
And how does that heal the relationship?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
So why are you still doing it?
Because I haven't made the choice to not. Because I haven't acted. Because I haven't made the choice and the action to move forward.
So with all of this information, first off, I mean, at least you were like open and honest about it. What are you gonna do?
Gonna make the choice and to move forward and act upon it and doing it.
We don't do general statements here.
We don't do a general statement.
Generic pass offs, brush offs. That would be Sean avoiding actually giving a real answer. Do you see that?
No, I'm giving I'm thinking of the
by making a choice. What choice? We talked about a lot of things. This would be the dodge and weave of the Sean
Bob and
Ewing.
Weave. By actually by saying the words, by communicating, like you said you did with your friend, by actually talking about it and expressing how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking.
What about trust and vulnerability, which was the start of this whole podcast?
I think
trust, safe space, white knighting, vulnerability, the lack thereof.
By doing that, I think by doing that is in a way being vulnerable. But I think trust is, trust is a choice, and I don't know what the other person's going to say. When I've done the hurt, I don't know what the other person's going to say. And they reaching out and starting that conversation doesn't mean that everything's going to be hunky dory and fine. And, it just means it's the start of wherever it's going to go. Um, so this is a hard one for me. So I have to trust myself, and I have to trust the other person, regardless of the voices, what those parts of me say otherwise. Oh, thanks, Kevin.
The question I was looking for is, when I was going through all this, is how can I make you feel safe with me again, and what am I still doing that still doesn't? It's that last part of that is very hard to hear.
Yes, that is, yeah. Yeah.
It's let's see what other emotional safety can be rebuilt, but only if the person who broke it is willing to stop saying I'm trying and start saying, how can I make you feel safe with me again, and what am I doing that still doesn't?
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good.
And it's
and being willing, and then sitting in that and listening to it. It's hard to ask the question. It's also hard to sit in the answer, whatever that answer is.
And going back to what Asta said, is like, I'm a wrecking ball. That's why I'm not a safe space for some people. I'm going back, and it's like, you can be healing, you can be struggling, you can be learning how to trust, but you cannot ask someone to hand you their trauma when you haven't learned how to hold your own. And that was like huge.
Yeah.
It was me having to learn myself first and let go, and that was so hard for me because I'm a people pleaser. I'm a fixer. I wanted to make everybody feel better because that was how I added value to my life. Is if I make you feel good, I make you feel good about yourself, I make you feel listened to and heard, then me going unheard and unlistened to is not a big deal because I'm just giving what I'm not getting. And so if I'm giving it, then at least, that was how I refilled my battery. But that's a very toxic way. It's like holding a battery, like, oh, I need to recharge my battery and I'm going to stick to a freaking light socket. That's not how you do it. So yeah.
My tendency is to try to people please and be okay, get the other person to be okay, to just like plow through and like fast track the conflict. So I don't have, because it's uncomfortable and I don't want to sit in the uncomfortable. So it's also me slowing down and allowing myself to sit in that, sit in the discomfort, ask the questions, and then potentially sit in the discomfort of it.
But discomfort is how you grow.
Yes. No, what is this? Autumn says nothing grows in the comfort zone.
And if you're avoiding the comfort zone, or you're trying to stay in the comfort zone, what does that say?
If I'm trying to stay in the comfort zone, it means I'm not ready to grow. I'm not willing to grow.
It can be a safe space when I worked more on my traumas and I'm more stable. And yeah, I mean, you're not going to fix all your trauma, and you're not going to, in stability is different for everyone. Yep. What some people consider stable, I come off as very unstable, but comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's reframing. It's reframing the discomfort. It's not fun. Like it's like not. It's not this whole emotional flagellation and of going. Oh, I enjoy the pain. That's how I'm growing. I enjoy it. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, when you're working out and you're doing the hard things and you're lifting the hard things and it hurts, and like the whole time you're just waiting for it to be fucking over. You're waiting for it to be over. It's the same way emotion with doing the emotional lifting and the emotional working out. You're just waiting for it to be fucking over, and you hurt afterwards, and it sucks, and it might take days, weeks, months for you to actually feel better. But you continue. You don't just say, "Okay, that hurt. I'm not showing up again. I'm not doing it again." No, you show up the next day and you lift the heavy and you do the things and you wait for it to be fucking over, and yeah, fucking until one day you look back and you're like, that was still hard, but I'm stronger now, so that doesn't seem quite as hard. It's still hard.
Mm-hmm.
Squats are squats. Squats are gonna suck if you're squatting with no weight or 100 pounds in each hand. Like, squats still suck. It doesn't make them any easier. You just like, it depends on what you're doing. And at least that's self-awareness, Asta, and that's safety. Yeah. That's protecting yourself and protecting the people you care about. So, all right, Sean, you have 2 minutes. What do you want to leave the show with? What do you want to leave them remembering? And you have to fill the whole 2 minutes.
I've got to fill the whole 2 minutes with something other than silence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. Mm, 2 minutes of pure. Oh God, yeah. You say that. You say that, Calvino. I don't. I don't. I am struggling with this. I'm this entire podcast is out of my comfort zone. What are you talking about? Yeah. Choosing to trust is difficult, whether it is trusting yourself, trusting other people. Because the voices, the parts of you, the parts of you will often speak loud and try to protect you. But just because you have voices, there are parts of you that are trying to do that, does not mean that is the reality. The emotions and the voices don't necessarily reflect reality. So it's what you do. It's what you do when that happens. It will feel uncomfortable. And it may not feel safe because the parts of you trying to tell you that it's not safe. But it's okay to trust. It's okay to trust people. Kevin is counting down. Great. And this and it's important to rewire that trust so that the sins of your past you don't enact upon the people in your present. Um, it does come in. It's okay to trust. It's okay to be vulnerable. And I do not know what else to say.
Well, and Kobe was hand time.
Yeah. This is sitting in the discomfort. Because I've caused a lot of damage with my distrust, both to myself and other people. And I don't want to do that anymore.
Well, if you don't want to do it, then you got to do something different.
Yes.
It's that simple. If you want to be different, you have to do different.
And it's not a single action.
Being vulnerable and trust are really hard. They are.
They are very hard.
And you know what? You don't have to trust everyone, and you don't have to be vulnerable with everyone, and you don't have to let everyone in your inner circle. And it's okay to push somebody out of your inner circle if they break that trust, and it's okay. And it's okay for that. I think for me, I held on to that. It's like, oh, they were a safe space for me. I trusted them and all of this stuff. And but so they have to always be there because they know too much, or they know they're the only ones that will, and that's not true. The reality is, if they don't show up, you show them the door. And you don't necessarily have to go no contact. You just don't have to let them have access to you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks. Because trust and vulnerability are hard. Oh my God, that's the whole reason I started streaming. That's the whole reason I go a stream and I process verbally and online, is because it's like vulnerability is just, it was so weaponized against me. And it was just, I couldn't. So it's just being vulnerable into the void, which is what it's just being vulnerable into the void. You know, if I let the ugly out, if I just let the ugly out, it's not predicated and dependent on one person to love me. Like, the ugly is the ugly, and at least that way I can sit in that truth. So, is feeling alone in a group healthy? I'm the wrong person to ask that.
Yeah.
Because I often feel that way. I think that there is a part of when you feel alone in a group, you're not safe. You're not, and when you feel alone in a group, you're feeling unheard, unseen, and unsafe. And so that's my experience, is when I'm feeling alone in a group, something's happening and I don't feel safe. Mm-hmm. And I disconnected and disassociated.
I think the why is important there. So yeah, you're right. You're not feeling safe. Why? Where's that coming from? What about it is not safe? Is causing you to not feel safe? Because for me, it doesn't mean that the other people are making me feel unsafe necessarily. It could be the fact that I am uncomfortable because of what is in my head. And so I'm feeling alone because of what I'm doing or what I'm thinking, and not necessarily that the other people are causing it.
That was a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, it's been 2 hours.
All right, Sean, what's going on in the week?
Okay, so tonight we have at 6:30 is I'm we're doing Let's Build with Pep. So I am streaming some Lego building on my channel, the Dorian Sombra channel. So it's 6:30 Eastern, the Jazz Club and the cafe. So we're gonna work on that, and then Tuesday is Three Bards and a Dragon on Team AOA. So that's where we roll a d20 and let it ruin our lives. That is at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. Tuesdays on the Team AOA channel. After that is going to be Nev. Nev streams after us. We usually raid into him. Let me see if I can put this in the. There we go. So Nev's at 2 o'clock Tuesdays after us, and then on Wednesday is Tainted J. Tainted J channel is going to be Jay. He's going to be streaming his house flipping and playing with his dogs. Nev is more gaming on Thursday, and then that brings us back to Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, depending on your time zone, or Sunday evening could be. So at 1 o'clock Eastern on this channel, Nerd My Mace. That's the week.
You guys enjoy your Sunday.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Did you really just high five over me? Right
No,
now?
we didn't.
Okay, we're live. Hello.
You don't even do that well from the front seat.
Okay.
The bear's coming with the carpet spoon.
That's a straight up PBR for the table.
Yeah.
I think it called